Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Rush Hour 2, starring Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, John Lone, Z.E. Zhang, or Zhang Z.E. as she was known at the time, and Rosalind Sanchez, and directed by Brett Ratner. Now, before I get into this, I will say I did see this in theaters once, and then I watched it quite a few times on home viewing, and will it mean that I'll like it to this day? Let's find out, shall we? We start off with Hu Li, played by Zhang Ziyi, I'll call her, because that's what she was called at the time, in a blonde wig in the American Embassy in China as she blows up the American Embassy. Meanwhile, we return with Lee, returned by Jackie Chan, and Carter, returned by Chris Tucker, in a car in China as they go to a case in a bar where Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson is karaokeed in the background by a guy who sounds terrible, I'll say. And Carter replaces him with a much better voice and dancing while Lee is investigating to find Ricky Tan, played by John Lone. And Carter is making an ass out of himself by saying the wrong words in Chinese. And Lee finds Lee in the club as they're undercover, and Lee chases after the goons. And here's more Jackie Chan kung fu style, but done a little bit worse than in the first one. And they end up hanging in the Chinese bamboo. And a lot of this is very much the reason why sequels to comedies don't work out as well as the original. Because the humor is being repeated from the first time, and they don't have anything new to make up as the jokes are concerned. Lee and Carter get to the massage palace after the fight from the night before, and the criminal mastermind Ricky Tan shows up at the same place as well as at the same time as them, and they have a fight in the massage parlor. And is it wrong to say that this movie needs to take a few more extra minutes before we get to another action sequence? Because I'm a little exhausted from the first action sequence. They run naked all over Hong Kong to the police station, and Lee learns a little more about two agents being killed in the American Embassy by the explosion, and yet Lee brings in another bomb at the police station as Carter leaves the station and purchases some suits and frees a chicken and gets into a taxi cab, and Lee hears a song that reminds him of Carter. But he thinks he's dead. And he learns Ricky is throwing a party on his boat, and Carter gets there, and in the taxi cab, driver drives away with this chicken. And what's he gonna do with the chicken anyways? Be a pet? Because he told a lady they almost killed the chicken to not kill it. But Carter meets Isabella. Carter meets Isabella Molina, played by Rosalind Sanchez, as well as Stephen Rain, who owns Los Angeles. And Carter bumps into Lee, and they go to Ricky as he confesses he didn't kill the two American agents. And we get another Jackie Chan martial arts stylized fight, and Lee gets away. And this movie is exhausting at best. And Carter goes back to Los Angeles, and Carter is annoying the hell out of me this time. And this is a little bit worse than the original, but I don't think it's the absolute worst. That comes next week, but it's pretty bad so far. We get back to Los Angeles, and Lee and Carter make asses of themselves and break into Isabella's suite as they're led to believe it was a bomb being delivered to her. And Lee and Carter team up with her as they start working for the United States Secret Service. And they get to a Chinese restaurant owned by someone Carter knows named Kenny, as Lee realizes he knows the Twisting Tiger, as they learn something might go down with Lee and Zing as they get there and find out Isabella is working with the bad guys for now, I'll say. And I said for now because she's an undercover agent. That's a line she said in the movie. They get in a truck on the way to Las Vegas as Lee escapes and lets Carter go free as the truck is stopping to the Red Dragon in Las Vegas. And that's funny because his next movie after this will be the Hannibal Lecter story of Red Dragon. As they get to the sewers, to a place nearby, which happens to be the same place, I brought up in a minute ago. And they trade suits for expensive suits, and part of this did make me laugh, but it's not enough for me to like this movie so far. They get in the party out of the Red Dragon Casino opening night as Isabella dances and helps Lee get past security, and so does Carter. This distracting the security with being a loud, angry, crazy man, let's call it, because I don't want to go racial there. While Lee gets there and a camera spots him and goes to the money laundering room, seeing video footage only on Lee, and gets captured by Hooli as she puts a bomb in his mouth and brings him upstairs. And we see Ricky is still alive, which it's bull crap, honestly. While Stephen Rain is going back to his hotel room, and Isabella pulls out a gun on Hooli, and Lee gets to the ground with the detonator while Isabella and Hooli fight as Isabella is wounded, and Lee tries to get the bomb out of his mouth, and Carter gets the tape off of Lee's mouth. And the Carter versus Hooli fight is hysterical as he's screaming like a girl. And he almost gets stabbed until Hooli gets knocked out thanks to Carter's evidence money. Or as I'm going to just believe that he's stealing it, but I don't want to go racial there. Stephen Rain gets killed by Ricky, and Lee gets to Ricky and pulls a gun out on Ricky as he torments Lee about his father, as he was his first father's partner years ago. And he almost kills Carter until Lee kicks him out of the building, and Hooli has a bomb on her hand, and Lee and Carter get the hell out of there and bump into a truck and survive and go to the airport in Las Vegas the next day, and Isabella kisses Lee as she goes to New York. And Lee and Carter go to New York together because Lee says he always wanted to see Madison Square Garden, or wanted to go to Madison Square Garden, excuse me. And the bloopers begin, and the climax is annoying, and at the same time, it was a headache. I'm not going to lie, it really was a headache. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.5 out of 10. This isn't as funny nor good as the original, and this time the chemistry between the actors died down a little bit more than last time. This is proving my point why the sequels to comedies are a bad idea to begin with. And the next one is just going to show my hand as a hell of a lot worse than the first one. And this one, the kung fu is not great, but I don't like the characters as much as last time. So I will be back next time with Rush Hour 3. It will be an unpleasant show. And until then, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?